Good morning. Happy Thursday. Today is the 20th day of January. This is the 14th episode already. Wow, this is the 14th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means lots of different things, but to me, it means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. Try it. You might like it. I'm your host. I'm Sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of what we're now calling the Hero Ministry Movement. And that started off as my effort to help and inspire the unhoused, and has grown into my effort to inspire and uplift people in general, including the unhoused. So, all that said, shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to have this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. Just a quick reminder, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. So do your own homework, do your own due diligence, and take what I say with a grain of salt. I am simply sharing with you and reminding myself of the things that have worked for me and some of the things that have not worked for me. So all that said, join me here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Yes, 9:45 a.m., no longer 10 a.m. The show has been expanded. Shout out to New Thought Media Network again for that. So the show starts at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And if this show provides any value to you, please like, please comment, please share, consider making a donation. All those good things, you'll find the information to do all that stuff in the show notes below. Okay, I think that's it for the introductory stuff. So, Hero Ministry Movement news. Let's get right into that. Let me say a shout out to the people in the chat. Oh, is it? Good morning, Gladys. It's snowing there. I think it snowed overnight here. It's not snowing now, but when I came out, there was snow on the car, and I can see there's snow on the rooftop. So I think it snowed here too. Anyway, good morning, Nan. Good morning, Margaretta. Yes. Pushing the doing. Listen, I got the doing sweatshirt on actually, so you right on brand, Margaretta. Okay, and what's up, Tim? I put the water in the car, and I remembered to get in the car at the end of my drive, and then I forgot that the water was in the car. All right, I'm gonna drink my water after the show. Okay, snowing in New Jersey. Okay, all right, so we just got a dusting here. I still need to go to Home Depot and get that shovel because the fact that it's snowing in Nashville, you all don't know, like snow in Nashville for most of my life has not been a thing. You know, we get a fleck of snow in Nashville and the city shuts down. Now snow in Nashville is becoming a regular occurrence. I'm gonna have to go get a shovel. Anyway, all right, so shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get into it. So this is season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show, and my theme for season 3 is doing, right? The idea is to make it as practical as possible, talk about the nuts and bolts of changing our financial lives and also our spiritual lives altogether. So today is also day 234 of my run streak. Just a reminder, or for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I have been doing a run streak since June 1st, 2021. I started running at least a mile a day on the 1st of June, and I've been running at least a mile every day since then. So my expectation, just really briefly, was to run 30 miles that first month, the month of June, 1 mile a day, every day. But I ended up at about 60 miles, so double my intended goal. And it's been snowballing ever since. So that said, if you missed my run report, or even if you caught the run report, and just a reminder, I do a run report every day on all the social media channels. So you can find that early in the morning, right after I finish my run. But today I mentioned that I had a chat with a neighbor. So I was coming in from my run and she was coming out to walk her dog. And she said, "It's a little cold to be out running, isn't it?" Because it was 23 degrees at the time. So it was cold. It was cold. And I just finished my 5K. And I didn't think about this at the time, but I thought about it later, you have to decide what's not optional for you. So if you've been watching the show, you now know that have I said this? Maybe I haven't even said this directly, but I don't even check the weather in the morning. I used to, but I don't anymore because for me, that begins the excuses process. If I check the weather in the morning, then my mind will latch on to things like, oh, it's snowing, oh, it's cold, oh, it's only 23 degrees. And that begins the excuses process. So I don't even look. I find out what the weather is when I step outside. That's how I roll. So whatever it is going to be what it is. And so I've already stepped outside to meet it, no matter what it is. And then I'll make some adjustments in real time based on what's going on. Like if it's raining, I might make some adjustments, not to the run, but to how my clothes are arranged. Just a couple of things I've learned to do based on different types of inclement weather. But the point is, it's not optional for me. I have determined that me running outside every day is not optional. And I thought about that because as I thought back to that brief exchange this morning, I realized that she was out walking her dog in 23 degree weather, and she had on a house coat and bare legs. So she's talking to me about it's too cold to be running, but she's not thinking it's too cold to be walking a dog. So it's all about what is not optional to you. Like you've just got to decide what is non-negotiable to you and then stick to it. And it just becomes part of your psyche. It becomes part of what we do now. Like when your mind starts to complain about, oh, it's too cold, it's too early and all that stuff, you just say back, this is what we do now. This is what we do now. So anyway, I did not have that revelation when I was talking to her this morning, but I did after the fact. So I think that's a pretty cool takeaway from a very brief encounter. Okay, that said, shout out to all my 30-day challenge people. I posted the roll call this morning in the group. If you're not in the group yet, let me know. If you still want to sign up, quote unquote, for the 30-day mental challenge, 30-day, did I say mental? The 30-day challenge, let me know. So again, the 30-day challenge for us is just choosing to do something every single day for 30 days, just being consecutive with it. So no matter what that is, we've got people walking, we've got people on exercise bikes, we've got people doing Peloton, we've got people writing, we've got a whole bunch of folks doing lots of different things. So if you want to get in on that, let me know. Let's get you in. And it's a supportive community. So those of you who are in the group, feel free to post often. You don't have to wait for my roll call to post in the group. Say whatever's going on with you and let other folks be your support system. Okay. All that said, moving on to anniversary week. So just a reminder, this is anniversary week for Living Life in Joy. It's been on for a year. I just realized I don't know exactly when I started to Be Your Own Hero show. I have to figure that out. Anyway, Living Life in Joy has been on for a year. And this week we've been showing like the best of is what we've been calling it. The best of Living Life in Joy. So that started with Reverend Robert. Reverend Robert is the founder of the New Thought Media Network. And I just realized that Reverend Melissa and Reverend Robert are in the same place. They're at the same conference. I don't even remember what the conference is, but they're at the same conference. Anyway, Reverend Robert is the founder of New Thought Media Network, and he was on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we had Gladys. And then today will be Regina Smithwick. Regina just interviewed me on her podcast. Do I still have that? Yeah. She interviewed me on her podcast, Let's Talk 1943. There's a flyer. It was Sunday, January 16th at 7 p.m. And we talked about Get Rich 101. That was a good show. I posted it on my social media. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I will also embed it in my podcast. So it'll be like a podcast of a podcast. I'll do that this weekend. Okay. So that said, Living Life in Joy today at 10:30 will be a replay of Rev Mel's interview of Regina Smithwick. So stay tuned for that. Just a quick heads up. All right. So envelope challenge, quick update on that. Again, I keep saying that I don't think I'll have something to say about the envelope challenge every day, but I keep having something to say about it. And this actually leads me into what I want to talk about today in terms of abundance. But the envelope challenge, what's happening for me now that I've been doing it every day is I actually get disappointed when I pull a low number. So today I pulled $1 and I was like, only $1, you know. And a couple of days ago I pulled $2 and I posted $2 in the group, but I actually contributed $5. I actually moved $5 from my checking account to my savings account, and I might do that again. So what's happening is I'm getting used to it. I'm getting acclimated, and the $1 doesn't feel like enough anymore just because I've gotten used to moving money from my checkings to my savings every day. And it's amazing how quickly you can get used to something. And then once you get used to something, you automatically start to expand, which, by the way, takes us back to the 30-day challenge. Remember to keep your bar low because eventually your body, your system, your whole worldview around what it is you're doing will expand. And what you set as the minimum won't be enough anymore. But you've got to get there. You've got to get to doing it every day before that happens. So set the bar low so that you can do something every day so you can get to that point where your body's like, all right, I think we can do some more now. Don't push it. Wait for your body to tell you. Anyway, that's what's happening with me and the envelope challenge. Like for me, the $1 and $2 isn't doing it for me anymore. I've got to give a little bit more. And the other interesting thing is that I mentioned before that you should have two buckets, like a brokerage account bucket and a savings bucket. I'm reversing myself on that. I think it's great to have two buckets, but you should have a goal. Like, in other words, a single bucket to contribute the money to for 30 days. And then maybe the next 30 days contribute to the other bucket. Because I started off doing, giving to one bucket on Monday, the other bucket on Tuesday. And it still works, but it's much more fun to see the money accumulate faster in a single bucket. So my tip, single bucket for 30 days, then change the bucket for the next 30 days. Okay, so all of that leads me into a little bit more about abundance. But before I do that, let's do these. Let me finish the announcements before I do that. Okay, so I'm just trying to keep my place. Envelope challenge coming up. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what to call this. I think what I'm going to go with is charity run number 3. Charity run number 3, because what I did before is I merged charity number 1 and 2 together, and I think that was confusing for some people, and it kind of confusing for myself. So charity run number 1, number 2, and now charity run number 3. Okay, so apparently it was not that difficult to find because wait, let me get the drum roll. Because Nan already made a donation. Yay! Shout out to Nan for making a donation. The charity run number 3 is called Help Mr. Charles Get Back on His Feet. It's live on GoFundMe. And I guess Nan probably just went to GoFundMe and typed sekouwrites. And so it's easy enough to find. But let me show you this. I did add it to my website. So this is my website here. It says Meet Sekou. Keith Major, a celebrity photographer, took that photo of me, which is great, that prayer photo. Anyway, if you can see right there on the homepage, it says Get Rich 101. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Maybe not. Maybe you can't see my mouse. But anyway, on underneath the word meet, it says Get Rich 101. And that'll take you to my podcast. And then underneath Sekou, it says Charity Run. You click that. That'll take you to the GoFundMe link where you can make a donation. So we're already off to the races. We've got 2 donations already. I made a donation and Nan made a donation. So those of you who are interested in helping Mr. Charles get back on his feet, literally go to my website, sekouwrites.com, click on Charity Run, make a donation. I will announce it out to the world tomorrow and in my run report and social media and all that. So I'm giving the heroes here an opportunity to be the first to help Mr. Charles get back on his feet. And this was the place where I first talked about what happened with Mr. Charles, if you remember, because it happened when I was out on a run and I didn't even have time to prepare a show because I came in and started talking about it. So I'm excited about it. I have said before a couple times now that in my 234 days of running, I've discovered that it's not just easier, but more fulfilling somehow to be running in service to something larger than myself, in service to someone beyond myself. So I'm excited to be starting now my third charity run. So the goal, once again, is $1,000 and 100 miles. So over the next 100 miles, I'm hoping to raise $1,000 for Mr. Charles. And again, the fact that I can even say, oh, the next 100 miles is crazy, because I've gotten myself acclimated to the idea that I can indeed run hundreds of miles over time. So I'm excited about that. Okay, once again, shout out to Nan. I appreciate you for finding it and making a donation. Okay, so Morning Zen. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. So for those of you just joining us, the show now starts at 9:45. We expanded the show by 15 minutes. It's now a half-hour show. So tune in a little bit earlier at 9:45 Eastern Time. And also, you can catch the replays on my YouTube and on the YouTube for New Thought Media Network. Also, New Thought Media Network now has an Instagram account, so please follow it at New Thought Media Network. Okay, so Morning Zen. I did not read the 30-Day Mental Diet today. Shame on me. What happened was I woke up later than I intended to, and my thought was, let me do my run now and then do my morning practice afterwards. That didn't work out so well. Like, I got the morning run in early, which was great, but anyway, it didn't work out. I'm still experimenting with that mix. So, but I think for me, it works better to do my reading and my journaling and meditation before I go for a run. That said, I did listen to the 4 Agreements while I was running. So that is a book that was reminded to me by Regina Smithwick during her podcast the other day. And I've been rocking with it, and I've been reading some quotes from it. So 2 quick things from the 4 Agreements. One isn't really a passage, it's just an idea. It talks about how all of us have a judge and a victim inside in our minds. And I don't even have to say anything more about that, because we all know that to be true. Like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah. We all have a judge who's judgmental of others and ourselves, especially ourselves, and a victim. It's like, oh, woe was me, right? And so the idea simply is to minimize the judge and to minimize the victim by exercising control over your own emotions. And there is a quote about the warrior mindset related to that I read. So it's very brief. It says, the warrior has control, not control over another human, but control over one's emotions, control over one's own self. That's it. It's just that idea of exerting control over our emotions. Otherwise, our emotions control us. And the more you listen to thought leaders, the more you listen to motivational speakers, the more you listen to people who are uber successful, you will hear them saying this same thing in their own way over and over again. So it's one of those things that is being borne out to be true across the board. You have to exert control over your emotions. Otherwise, your emotions will guide you. And for me, the most obvious reference is my run streak. There are many days, even now that I'm in the 200s, there are many days when I don't want to do it. So I have to push past not wanting to do it, not feeling like doing it, by exercising the muscle of so what. And that muscle of so what is a muscle I'm developing for the whole of me. I'm using running to develop it, but The idea is to use that muscle in the rest of my life, in other areas of my life where I don't want to do something. I'm like, so what? Let's get it done. Okay, so that is my morning Zen. It comes to us from the Four Agreements. I still haven't read it, cover to cover, but I'm ingesting it in a number of different ways. Okay, so let's talk about money. Let's talk about abundance. Let's talk about prosperity. Let's circle back to that. So let's do our affirmation just to set things up. Let me find that. Here we go. I'm so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. And just a secondary reminder, poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy, they invest. So remember that investing is not optional. Okay, so we've been talking about two excuses that come up often in terms of investing. One, I don't have enough money to invest. And two, I don't know where to invest. So I was making a segue from the envelope challenge to the topic today because I was reminded of Acorns on Regina Smithwick's podcast on Sunday. Acorns is an app. I don't know if they have a .com, but it's an app on my phone that allows you to invest passively into mutual funds. So the way it works is you download the app, you sign yourself up, and you sign up for something called roundups. So the way that works is you connect it to your debit card. And if you go out into the world and you spend money, let's say you spend $1.98 on something, the app will round it up to $2. So you spend $1.98, it'll round up to $2, and that 2 cents that it rounded up, it'll automatically take that and put it into the mutual fund. So it's a passive, invisible way to invest, which is wonderful, right? Because you look up, you go check your account, you're like, oh wow, there's all this money in there, and all it's been doing is taking at most 99 cents. Like at most 99 cents. It'll round up and then move that money over into a mutual fund. So you might want to check that out. That said, what's interesting to me is I had Acorns for many years, way before I started this recent investment journey. And I have become a little disillusioned with it, not because of the roundups, which is amazing, but because you don't have much control over where the money goes. Now, this is great for folks who are just getting involved in investing. Like, it was great for me. I was like, oh, all I have to do is decide aggressive, moderate, or conservative. That's the options. Those are the options it gives you. But that's it. That based on that decision, it decides where the money goes. But now that I know about the stock market, now that I know about index funds, ETFs, now that I know where the money is best served, I want to go into Acorns and say, oh, no. Let's put this money here. And it doesn't seem to be a way to do that. It appears to be just going into a mutual fund. And as we have learned here over time, mutual funds tend to have sneaky fees. I made that term up just now, but sneaky fees are compounding fees, where the number they charge you is really low, but it's compounding. So as your balance grows, there's my alarm. As your balance grows, the fee grows. So definitely we want to watch out for that. I have not read the small print again, so I'm not sure if Acorns has a sneaky fee, but it's a mutual fund and it doesn't give you the option of putting the money exactly where you want it to go. Again, that's great for amateurs, but we are pushing past amateur status now. We now know where to put the money. So I circle all that back to the envelope challenge, because the envelope challenge is like your own Acorns. You're taking these little tiny pieces of money and setting it aside, and it doesn't seem like any money at first. It seems like $1, $2 a day is not going to do anything, but I'm telling you, it's adding up quickly. So if you haven't been doing it, I encourage you to do so. You'll be shocked at how much money you will find, quote unquote, to invest. That said, in terms of investing, I would suggest not putting it into a mutual fund and instead putting it straight into an index fund. So that speaks to where to put the money. Put the money in an index fund. I've told this story before, but Warren Buffett has famously said that if he passes away before his wife, the way the money allocation will be set up is 90% in index funds and 10% in bonds. That's it. Whole story. Super simple, right? And it's shockingly difficult to do because there's so many different psychological quirks about investing in money. And there's this thing with all of us, myself included, where we're trying to pick a winner. We're trying to pick a winner. We're trying to pick that stock that's small now, it's going to be huge later, it's going to make it rain financially. And it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea because the likelihood that you're going to pick that winner is slim. It's like hitting the lotto. It's slim. Here's a great correlation. There was, well, with the advent of Web 2.0, which is what we call the internet now, this modern iteration of the internet before we move into Web 3.0, which will be the metaverse and cryptocurrency and NFTs and all that. So at the beginning of Web 2.0, there are all these .coms, right? All these .coms popped up all over the place. And at that time, many people were investing in many of the .coms. But later, as things settled, a lot of the .coms went bust and only a few of them remained, right? So that is what is happening now with Web 3.0. There's all these companies in these different spaces, what I've been calling Planet Crypto. There's all these different companies in crypto, all these different companies in NFTs, all these different companies in metaverse, but we don't know who's going to shake out as winners and who's going to shake out as losers. So it's best, in my opinion, do your own research. It's best to me to invest in index funds and ETFs because index funds are going to be the biggest companies in the country. And the biggest companies in the country have to find a way to work themselves into Planet Crypto. They just have to if they're going to survive. And ETFs, you can be a little more targeted. Like you can get an ETF for blockchain. You can get an ETF for cryptocurrency. I know because I've looked into both. So you can find ETFs that cover a number or invest in a number of companies in the specific aspect of Web 3.0 that you're interested in. And you minimize your risk because you're investing in 50 or 60 or 100 companies at once. So all that said, I am talking to myself. I'm talking to myself and telling myself to stop trying to find a winner and invest in what's already winning. Speaking of which, before we close out, that reminds me, Nan, you had a comment yesterday about having that same experience with Bitcoin. So very briefly, I am not selling my Bitcoin, period, because it is the only cryptocurrency that I know of that has a finite amount. And as we know, in terms of scarcity, when you have something that there is a finite amount of, it's worth more. So I have a little bit of Bitcoin, not a lot, but I'm not selling it. No matter what it does in terms of price fluctuations, I'm holding on. But also, I am now investing in ETFs that cover cryptocurrency, that cover NFTs, that cover blockchain. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm out of time. It's time for prayer time right now at 10:15, and then it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa at 10:30. Again, this week we're doing the best of Living Life in Joy as a celebration of Living Life in Joy. So join me for those shows, and also join me here again tomorrow for the Be Your Own Hero show. Until then, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero, and remember that now is better than perfect later.